Hello and welcome to the Gallant podcast, episode 2 of the 2021-22 season. My name is Graeme Currie and I'm joined by Kenny Winters. Kenny, how are you doing? How's your summer without Rangers?
Oh, it was alright. I have my own football going over summer anyway, so I hardly got a break.
Yeah, you're coaching, so you're always surrounded by football. Kept it going for you. What about the Euros? Anything stand out for you at the Euros?
No, we had a sweepstake in work. I wanted Portugal to win, so it was I lost interest in it pretty early, but I tell you, I'm happy that somebody didn't win it.
I had Italy actually. I had Italy in my predictor, so I won the sweepstake and the money to go with it, so I was delighted with that. Yeah, so a few things have happened throughout the summer then. So what about the new strips? The new gold lining, does that do it for you? Will you be buying the home or away strip, or what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know if it's just coincidence, but they both came out in my payday, so I got the home one. I went up to Ibrox the day that the home one came out, seen the queue and thought, nah. So I went up to Buchanan Street and I thought, might as well. I've drove up here now, so nicer in person than it is in the promo material, definitely. And then the away one, look, man, like I know a lot of people don't like it, but I don't see what's so bad with it. I've seen a lot of people saying it's the worst kit we've ever had. Like, come on.
No, it has divided people, hasn't it? I quite like it myself. I like the away strip. Home strip's fine as well. It is obviously the gold lining is for the 150th anniversary, so I think you can live with it. I'm kind of a fan of a retro strip, really. So kind of like we had in the third division. I quite like that basic, just blue with a white collar does it for me. But aye, quite nice. I think I'll probably get both of them actually when I get around to buying them.
I'm assuming we're going to bring some white one out or something because they are quite similar in colour, aren't they?
I would imagine there is a third kit to come, yeah. Even a European kit or something. We usually have 3 anyway, so
yeah.
Imagine that. But even a lot of the training gear looks quite good as well. You know, a lot of the stuff that's coming out for Custore is, I know there was quite a lot of complaints about the quality of the kit last year, but it all looks good to me. Everything looks quite smart. So
there is a lot of it, to be fair. So
they release something every day, don't they? Every single day they're releasing something. Yeah. We got a bad news this week as well about Ali Dawson passing, age 63. Ali Dawson was the Rangers captain during the early 80s. Actually made 315 appearances for Rangers. Gained 5 Scotland caps as well. His honours, 2 Scottish Cups and 4 League Cups in the 80s. So I personally never seen Ali playing for Rangers, just a wee bit before my time, so I never actually seen him play. But all reports coming out this week are he was a great player, served the club well, and to rack up over 300 appearances, obviously, is testament to that. You're obviously a lot younger than me as well, Kenny. So, do you have any memories, or does anything in your family or anything like that tell you about Kenny? To tell you about Ali?
No, to be honest with you, it's not a name I was too familiar with. Obviously, reading the stuff that's came out this week, like you say, to captain them in the 80s. I think my parents weren't even my age in the 80s, so it's well before my time. But yeah, no, you're right. It's sad news.
Yeah, and he wasn't just a player for Rangers. I think it helped with the soccer academies. He's like an ambassador for the club, so he was certainly a big part of the club. And he'll be sadly missed. So pass on the condolences from the Gallant few. A few other things have happened this week. Then we've had a few departures from the club. Maybe worth running through. Some of them we have already covered last week. Colin and I covered some of these last week, but I'll just recap. Some that went out on loan. So Jack Thompson's away to Queen's Park. Lewis Mayo is away to Partick Thistle. James Maxwell's away to Ayr United. Kai Kennedy's away to Dunfermline. And Ben Williamson's away to our opponents at the weekend, Livingston. Those were the loan signings out. Permanent moves out. Reece Breen. Reece had been out in America at Orange County. He's away to Dunfermline on a permanent basis. George Edmondson's away to Ipswich. And Dapo and Boody's away to Watford. So touching on George Edmondson, probably the highest profile departure there. Was that the right decision to let George Edmondson go?
Yeah, I think so. Because obviously looking at forgetting about obviously the incidents with the COVID breaches and stuff last year. Like looking at his position, we've got Goldson, Katic, Balogun, and Hollander all ahead of him. You would say so. He would be fifth choice. So I think probably for the club to get him off the wage bill and then for himself to get out and get some game time, that's probably the right decision. Yeah.
Yeah, Simpson as well to throw into the mix there. So there's another defender. I quite liked him. I thought the Podders in this and the Gallant few are all divided. Really, there's a mixed feeling for this one. I personally would have kept him. I thought he had a bit of potential. I quite liked him. But as you say, it will be difficult for him to get into the team. So probably is the right decision for him. Probably personally, he's probably maybe said, I'm not going to get a game at Rangers here, so it's time for me to move on. And done well in the Championship last year by all accounts. So
Derby it was, wasn't it? He was at, yeah.
He was at Derby and done well, so apparently he stood out there, and Ipswich took a shine to him. I also see Ipswich are rumoured to be interested in Jordan Jones as well, so another guy done well last season at Sunderland he was at, so another potential departure. So we are seeming to be trimming the squad, and I think it needed it. I did think it needed to be trimmed. There's a lot of players there that weren't going to get a game, and if they're going to develop their career or for their own benefit, had to go out.
Yeah, I think obviously with the sort of younger boys going out as well, all that over the summer about the old firm, like the teams going into the Lowland Leagues, starting at Division 3, I think that's obviously probably impacted quite a lot of them, same within Rangers, and I know obviously they're investing in the actual B team now, but I think to actually get them out in a bit of high competition and more high intensity games, that would do them the world of good as well.
Yeah, the youth have got a good programme here. So we're in this Lowland League, and we've won our first 3, and then we get beat last night off the Strollers.
Strollers, yeah.
Yeah, Civil Service. So the Civil Service Strollers, they beat us 3-1, and that's been the first defeat. But that's a good level, I think, for the boys to be playing at. That's going to develop them. And then the ones that are just slightly older and not available, they're moving on to, there's one of them is going to, Ben Williamson's away to the Premier League with Livingston. 3 of them there, Lewis, Mayo, James Maxwell and Kai Kennedy are in the Championship. And then Jack Thompson's away to Queen's Park in League One. So they're going to get challenged there, and obviously that might be hopefully a progression to the first team, or if not the progression to the first team, develop them better as football players, which should be the end goal of an academy anyways, to get professional football players coming out of your academy.
Yeah.
We had 4 friendlies, pre-season friendlies. We had 4. We had Partick. First game was against Partick Thistle, where we won 1-0. Arsenal at Ibrox 2-2. Brighton at Ibrox 0-0. And Real Madrid the day later, and we won 2-1, beating Real Madrid. What an incredible thing to say, beating Real Madrid. Did you manage to get to any of the games? Have you been lucky in any of the ballots? Or?
Well, I didn't get my season ticket this year, so I just sort of winged it and got tickets both days. Just one of my mates I went to school with got me a ticket for Brighton, and then it was Scott Hodge that got me a game for the Real Madrid, a ticket for the Real Madrid game. So I managed to get to the 2 of them. What about yourself?
I've not been to Ibrox at all. I've not been seeing any of the games. No. What was your impressions of the team then throughout the friendlies? Anything stand out?
Cedric Gittin stood out. both days. I know, obviously, there's no secret he didn't really get going last season, and we're only 4 games in, and specifically these 2 at the weekend. But I know he was impressive at the weekend. He's looking hungry, and he looks as if he knows now that he's got a season to take his chance and take the opportunity.
Gerard was saying that he looks more settled. You know, I think his girlfriend now lives in Glasgow, so he's got maybe a more settled personal life. He's out socialising a bit more, so he's probably grounded, which can only help him in his work if he's coming to training a happier boy. And obviously knows the club a lot more, so having had that season. So hopefully he gets more game time and keeps banging them in the way he has done the first 4 friendlies.
Yeah, and Stephen Kelly as well. Obviously, I know you weren't at the game, but you would have seen it. Mm-hmm. He was excellent. The 2, he played both days again. But in that Brighton game, I know it's weird to say because obviously Real Madrid are tougher than Brighton, but that Brighton game, untouchable.
Aye, lost it.
Oh, honestly, see if he kept that up, he'd be in that. He'd be given first team a real problem, not selecting him.
Mm-hmm. I know Colin's a big fan of him. He's been following him for United and Ross County. He's been watching him closely, so I think he's eye on him and can see that. But I watched the game obviously, and he did stand out. You know, it looks as if he's no fear. He's up against quality players there. Mm-hmm. That's Premier League level players that he's playing against, and he's not looking at a place. He's actually looking at head and shoulders above some of the players. So great signs for that. What about that result? Real Madrid. It's unbelievable to keep saying it though, but how do you manage that?
See after we won the league, the celebration in Glasgow, I went in. I know you won't hear it on the podcast, but I'll show you it here. I went into a shop and bought the '94 home kit.
Oh, aye.
And I had it framed, and I took it out. I was like, oh no, I'll keep it in there. I was like, no, I'll take it out for a special occasion. So that's what I'm putting it down to. But honestly, man, they were unbelievable. Like, and I'm hearing people say it's a Real Madrid B team or whatever, but if we're being honest with ourselves, it is. But it's not as if it's just anyone off the street that's chucking on a Real Madrid kit on. Yeah, we've still got Marcelo in there, Odegaard, Isco. Had what's that boy up front, Lucas Vazquez, that they paid 50 million for the early year. So. There wasn't half-tees that were running about in the pitch, and honestly, Rangers just absolutely dominated them. I know their goal, Rodrigo, that was just a bit of personal inspiration, and Odegaard carrying up, passed it to Rodrigo maybe 40 yards out, and he done the rest. I think he went by 3 or 4 players, and take nothing away from him. It's a great goal, but the rest of the game, they couldn't get a touch.
No. Do you think it was just depressing? We wouldn't give them a minute in the ball. It was just working as a team.
Yeah, it was just that high intensity. I was speaking to one of my mates. We went out on Friday, and he was saying that he thinks we'll do better in the Champions League than in Europa. And see, initially I was like, what are you talking about? But see, the more that he explained it, we do actually play better against teams that will come out and go for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, compare Saturday and Sunday there. 100%, I'd agree with that now.
Yeah, because you find that when teams park the bus against us, it's hard to break down. It really is hard to do it. But if people are going to come out and leave space, then we'll exploit it because we've got pace to do it. We've got the ability up front to exploit space.
Yeah, Ryan Kent ran them ragged. I don't know the name of the boy at right back for Madrid, but to be honest, it's probably a good thing for him that nobody knows his name because he get run ragged.
Aye, Kent stood out for me as well. Just also just watching on the telly, but he really did stand out. And long may it continue. We're looking fantastic. We're looking really, really good.
Yeah.
So looking ahead, we've got a few big games coming up. We've got Livingston on Saturday. What's your thoughts on a first team 11? What's your first 11? Or did you mind first?
We might take it back.
First then, Kenny, let you have a wee think about it. I wrote down mine before we came on here. So I went McGregor in goals, Tav, Goldson, Hollander and Barisic, Kamara, Lundstrom and Davis. And then up front I've went Hadji, Kent and Itten. So I want to see Itten continue that scoring form that he's had. What's really interesting about trying to choose an 11 is it's so difficult. It's so difficult because you're leaving out some cracking players. You just don't know. Yeah, you just don't know what's for the best because we've got so many great first team players to choose from. But yeah, I've went Itten instead of Sakala. That's probably contentious. But what do you think? Anything on that? Anything you would change there?
I'm just finishing. So I've got McGregor in nets, Barisic, Hollander, Goldson, Tav at the back. Midfield three of Davis, Kamara and Lundstrom. Kent, Hadji and Sakala up top. One
change to my team then. So we went Sakala to start and I went Itten to start. Yeah. It is a tough one. What did Sakala look like?
He looked good. Obviously, was that his first game for him on the Saturday? He came on and he didn't look out of place. He was straight on and straight in the faces of Brighton. Then obviously started up top on the Sunday and got his goal. But no, he looked good. See for it being only, not even 2 games really, 1 game in total. He looks. I think he'll do well. I've seen the reaction on Twitter as well from people, obviously sharing that. I've not seen anything negative about him.
What has he got? Is it physicality, pace? Is it all of these things? What's his key attributes, do you think?
Yeah, it's his pace, and he's always looking to get in behind and get the ball. He can spray it out wide as well in this Christmas tree formation that we play. I think it's just a perfect fit because obviously he can drop deeper, let Kent and Hadji advance, or Kent, Hadji, in whoever it is. I think just on that note, just a tangent. Obviously, Morelos is back. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes an appearance.
Oh, really?
Weekend, even as a sub. Unless I've missed something and Gerrard said that he's not going to play. I done that last.
No, I've not seen anything either. But I was just surprised that I would be surprised if he started anyway. Just he's not.
I don't think he'll start, but I think we might see him make an appearance. Just to get a bit of minutes in his legs. But no, Sakala, he was looking everything that you'd ask for. A striker coming, looking to get on the ball, look comfortable on the ball, wasn't scared to run it, defenders. So I can't see him flopping.
Mm-hmm. Livingston have signed a couple of players maybe worth bringing to your attention. Andrew Shinnie started off at Rangers. They've also signed Adam Lewis on loan from Liverpool, 21-year-old from Liverpool. So you've got to imagine that he's a decent player. Anything that's coming out of the Liverpool Youth Academy the last few years has been pretty decent. So we know that will sell with Kent, but maybe that's a couple of things to bear in mind for Saturday. I assume your confidence is high and we should be beating Livingston.
Last time we played Livingston, I said it was going to be about 4-5-0 Rangers. I think it ended up 1 each, but feel better this time.
Right, predict 1 each then, that'll be 4-0.
No, I think obviously the players will be wanting to start out the campaign, start as we need to go on with the title defence. So I'm not going to say a score, but I can't see it being anything else than 3 points to us.
Yeah, starting off at Ibrox is going to be good as well. Last year we started at Aberdeen. It was Kent and they won the victory. So, and it just set us off. That was such a good performance, such a good result. Yeah, we just need to hope that we get the same start. Looking at the fixtures in the league, and I said this to Colin last week in the pod. I can see us opening up a gap. I really can. We've got home to Livy, Dundee United away, Ross County away, home to Celtic, St Johnstone away, Motherwell home. That's our first 6 fixtures, and I'm always quite confident, I suppose, looking at that. But looking at that fixture list, that gives me hope that we could probably even get maximum points out of that and really open up a gap.
I think if you don't take 18 from 18 there, it'll be a bit of a sickener. But listen, these wee teams, you know what they can be like, especially when we're playing away and they'll come to Ibrox and sit in. And obviously Celtic have got a new coach and head manager, and the squad at the moment, it's no secret that it's not the best, but surely they'll get some quality in by then.
You need to think so, don't you? You know, it looks very bare, their squad, so that's what gives me confidence as well. You know, is that they don't have time to bed all these players in. So if they're going to take a few weeks to get up to speed, then they could be dropping points in those first 6 games. And if we open up with, flawless 18 points, whatever, then we're already starting to open the gap, and they're chasing us already.
What are they? The 5th game, 4th, 5th.
4th, yeah. It's Dundee United, Ross County, then Celtic. It's the 29th of August, I think the date is for that. It's the end of August anyway. I guess the only thing to factor into that is our European schedule. So we're going to have to be playing Wednesday, Saturdays. But given the squad we've got, I think we should be able to handle that. Obviously, first up, 3rd of August is Malmo. So we're travelling to Malmo on the 3rd of August, and then the return leg being the 10th of August. Malmo get through that last round of the Champions League by defeating Helsinki. They scraped through actually. So Helsinki gave them a little bit of a scare. They were expected to battle them, but Helsinki ran them close.
I think with us being seeded, I don't want to sound arrogant or get ahead of myself, but with us being seeded and Malmo, I can't really see being an issue for us. We beat better teams than that to get into Europa, and then I'm not sure who we can get in the next round, but I'm pretty confident we'll make it to the group stages.
Yeah, I'm not sure we are actually seeded for the next part. I think it's dependent on the results of a few other games. So in the Champions path, there's a few different games. So there's Dynamo Zagreb versus Legia Warsaw. Then there's what's the other games? There's Ferencváros versus Slavia Prague and Olympiacos or Ludogorets, and Cluj versus Slovan Bratislava. So there's a few scenarios there where we might not be seeded.
Put it this way then, see all of those teams, see if you ask them who they want to avoid. I guarantee you it'd be us.
Oh, definitely. They'll definitely be wanting Rangers. We'll be the one to avoid. Given the European performances last year, there's no one in there that's at a standard below. That is a standard above what we've played and beat. So we should be able to take care of them. But let's focus on Malmo first there. Let's get that one out of the way, and then we'll see what the draw brings. The draw's on Monday. Monday morning we've got the draw for the next round. Should we beat Malmo? Kenny, at the beginning I did mention the Euros, but we never really touched on the players that represented Rangers. Colin and I mentioned a couple of players last week, but specifically Patterson being left out in favour of O'Donnell. Anything that any of the players stand out for you at the Euros, or any comments that you'd like to make?
I think Kamara seemed to do quite well and picked up a bit of traction and attention when he was there. I think I've seen something on 3 games or 2 games or something to get man of the match, or that's nonsense. But yeah, I watched obviously the game against Denmark that he played in. Overshadowed was obviously the Eriksson incident, but he done well in there. Like you were saying, Patterson being left out, it would have been good for him, I think, because nobody. I know people were hopeful, but see, realistically, did anyone ever expect Scotland to progress? So I'm always of the opinion that you'd rather go out and have a go at it than sitting back and going out anyway. And okay, O'Donnell played all right against England, but really the other two games overall, would it really been any better than you would have got from Patterson?
Yeah, I was surprised. I said it last week that it was just a poor decision that Steve Clark's obviously got him as one of his favourites, and and he had a bad game, and then he just felt he had to back him up and sort of not drop him. But there's no room for sentiment when you get to that. I do
kind of get that. I do kind of get it, but I don't know, man. I think the problem in this country with football is they're thinking too backwards. They're too backward minded. I just think now, especially and like I say, I get that it was the first tournament in 23 years, but I think you've seen Billy Gilmour coming on and doing well and getting praise. I just think overall we should have pushed the youth on more.
Yeah, this is their opportunity, wasn't it? I know it's a first in 23, but this is your opportunity to blood them and give them the experience so that the next tournament, should we get there, they're ready, they've experienced it and they've got that in their locker. Yeah, disappointing for that. I did see Kamara's stats in a few games, and they were top passer on the pitch, pass completion, yards ran and all that. So he really stood out, not just as a fan looking at it as a game, but even all the stats, which I know a lot of people follow, he seemed to rack up quite a few numbers, as they say.
Yeah, good to see Barisic as well. Getting on and getting a few minutes. I was at the fan zone for the Scotland-Croatia game, and honestly, see when he came on and everyone was booing him, couldn't hold my grin. Love it. And Hollander, see, to be fair, I thought Hollander would have maybe got a bit more game time. I know you've got Lindelof in the team, that Sweden team. I thought Hollander might have got a bit more game time.
Yeah, it was Danielson, and then he was the boy that gets sent off, I think. He was the one he was obviously in place of Hollander, if you like, but he wasn't for being shifted. But when he did come on, I thought he'd done all right. He headed a few things away, just what you expect for Hollander. He'd done his job when he came on for the Sweden, but it would have been nice to see him get a wee bit more game time.
I think if Finland, Croatia, Scotland, Sweden make it to the World Cup, I mean, obviously you've got countries like Nigeria, Romania with Haji Aribo, our players are starting to get more international as well. And right in saying that the only players in the squad that aren't internationals are the English players.
You might be right. You've got Eaton, so Eaton for Switzerland.
Yeah. Morelos, obviously, with Colombia.
Yeah.
Arfield's with Canada. Davis is with Northern Ireland.
Katic at Croatia. I know he was injured, but he'll come back into the squad.
I think if we get to the World Cup, or however many players we get to the World Cup, it's just going to give them exposure, and hopefully if we've still got them at that point, and then they do need to move on, that'll increase the market value. Yeah.
There's just a wee slight concern about if they've been away at the Euros and they've been training hard and playing hard, are they going to be a wee bit jaded at the beginning of the season? I hope there's no sort of hangover from that for the guys that have been there, but I'm sure they'll be well managed with the sports scientists and we've got the squad, as I was saying earlier, we've got the squad to accommodate that and give players the right amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's us then. Onwards to Livingston on Saturday. We're both confident of a victory, and I'm going to go a prediction of 3-0. I know you're not willing to put your head in the block and give a prediction, but I'll go 3-0, 2 for Itten, and 1 for Goldson. That's the prediction of myself. Goldson header for a corner. 54th minute.
Fair enough.
I always like to give a precise prediction.
Do you know what, I'll go for it as well. I think it'll be... I'm going to go 2. I'll go 2-0.
2-0 to the Rangers, 3-0 to the Rangers.
See, Sakala and Kent. I'm not giving you the minutes.
Very good. Okay, thanks very much, Kenny, for joining us today on today's podcast, and thanks to the listeners who have tuned in today. As always, leave your feedback in the comments section on YouTube, Spotify, Twitter, all the usual places. Thanks very much, guys. We are the people.